Welcome, man. How are we today?
Yeah, really good.
Fantastic. Introduce yourself, man. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so Connor O'Neill, or Sergeant Connor O'Neill. I'm in the Air Force as an aircraft technician at Williamtown.
Yeah, so my name's Liam Ramsey and I'm an aircraft technician in the Royal Australian Air Force.
Sergeant Ryan Pedro, or everyone pretty much calls me Pedro. I'm an avionics technician in the Air Force.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that for?
Nearly 17 years.
About 3.5 years now, so yeah.
Yeah, enjoying it?
Yeah, I absolutely love it, eh?
Yeah.
I have been for about 16.5 years.
So, how did it all come about? Like the collaboration with Top Blokes and then bringing that into the defence?
Yeah. So after we decided it was a good idea that this needed to be something we need to bring to the lads in defence, Pedro actually heard the Lift the Load challenge from Top Blokes on the radio, and we're like, well, we need to get to know this foundation. So we did a bit of research into who they are and what they're about. It was pretty much exactly in line with where the program we wanted to start in defence. So we thought we'd reach out and say, have you ever thought about working with defence and this age bracket? We knew they did an age bracket 18 to 24 in schools, or out of school I suppose, but never with defence. So we reached out.
What do you like about the Air Force, man?
Yeah, so I think just, the technical thinking is probably like what I really enjoy about it. Yeah, you're rocking up to work and you can't really be like real mundane with what you do. You always have to be on point and really punctual with your thinking and stuff like that. So I really love that. Yeah.
It was the Lift the Load challenge last year, was on the radio.
Yeah.
Heard him talk about this is for that Top Blokes work with 10 to 25-year-olds, and
Yeah.
and I just started to look at it and I'm like, this looks really good. Like, it looks awesome. It's something that I wish I had growing up, because I have a lot of backstory to, I guess, for myself, how like that time frame in my life was definitely ended up very deep and dark, I suppose.
Yeah.
And probably lucky in a lot of respects that I came out the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, like, this would be awesome if we could give something like this to defence members and kind of, I suppose, thought like you're probably looking at 70% are probably male in that demographic of 18 to 25-year-olds still.
Sure.
So let's try and get something for them, and I guess all I really wanted for them was just some mental tools that they could use long term.
How was the first initial response to, like, you know, welcoming the program to the defence? Like, how was it taken, you know, with a lot of encouragement, or did it take a bit of, like, you know, influence to get it happening?
I suppose over the whole approval process, went through maybe 4 to 6 lines of command levels, I suppose.
Yeah.
Each level was met with absolute, you know, admiration, excitement. I don't think anyone had anything bad to say about it. They all realised that it's a space we needed to fill. In saying that, defence has a lot of other programs, but they're all like aligned with things like a bit of mental health stuff, bit of relationship stuff, but that's not all one program where you can come and sit for, you know, 8 weeks straight and learn a little bit about everything. So luckily for us, we were approved in pretty short time because everyone was kind of vibing what we were talking about, all the way to the top, and they were happy to support, and they loved what the foundation was about and knew that it's something we could work well together with.
How was the involvement with Top Blokes in the program that you did?
So yeah, so with the program, I was actually, I don't know, I wasn't really like skeptical of joining, but I was definitely maybe a bit confused on what it actually was about. like, because it sort of just got propositioned to me like, oh, you know, do you want to try this thing? It's called Top Blokes, and they're just trying to make, yeah, men, young guys better themselves. And I was like, oh, you know, 100%, I'll be more than willing to do that.
So in terms of the sessions that you guys started to run,
Yeah.
what did that entail? What was it all about there?
Yeah, so we did an 8-week program of 2-hour sessions, and that went from anywhere from, you know, alcohol and good choices on that, healthy relationships, mental health, body image was a massive one for our lads coming through there, because, you know, they are asked to be fit in our job role, but it obviously has a, you know, another darker side to it that we're seeing in young males now as well. You know, sexual health, pornography, budgeting, conflict management. So we kind of covered a lot that, you know, you'd come into day to day where we think we do it well, but really expanded on all of it.
Implementation of doing stuff with Top Bloke, and then, you know, putting that towards the people that, you know, are going through this program. How was that response? Like, what did you see worked?
In the stuff within the program?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the most interesting parts that I got heaps of stuff personally, and how I deal with my own kids out of this as well. So around the masculinity, that was probably part of the driver as well for me, that there was some talk around masculinity, because I know for myself, as a 18 to 25-year-old, it probably drove me to do a lot of really dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Where I thought I had to try and be the alpha male,
For sure.
or things like that, and looking back at it now was probably driving that. So that masculinity piece was really awesome. And I think a lot of guys got some stuff out of it, and it was really interesting how they went about it, and how they talked about the man box, and put like your stereotypical masculine traits in the man box. And how and a bunch of other stuff outside of the man box, so like showing emotion, being able to do feminine type things. And then they spoke about how there's been studies where guys are actually happier where they can actually are able to feel they can express more feminine traits and things like that. So that got me onto things like, and that includes like emotion and stuff like that. So me personally, and how I've started to implement things with my own children as well as that works.
Did you feel like there was like a certain need for you to do that? Like you just wanted to just better yourself, or like was there something that you wanted to overcome within yourself? It
was definitely something that I've always been interested in this sort of space with mental health, and always trying to better myself in that space as well. So that's why I was more than willing and open to join up, and I'm really glad I did.
Is there anything that surprised you once you did the course, or while you're going through the course?
I think what surprised me was the amount of similar problems that all the guys were sort of experiencing while on the course. You know, I think because everyone was sort of starting to open up, it was interesting to know that I was like, oh, you know, I felt like that before, or I've been like feeling the same way, you know, at the time of the topics that we were talking about. So that was definitely, like, that's what surprised me. But I think what surprised me the most as well was like how good I'd feel, you know, leaving the session, even though it was only for 2 hours. You know, I'd feel, you know, it might just be like a minor, like, bug on my chest or something, and just talking about that, and then leaving, I was like, you know, I feel 100% better. So I was really surprised at that, actually. And now that the course is sort of over, I actually, you know, I sort of miss just having those catch-ups with the guys and stuff like that. And so yeah, that actually took me by a big surprise.
you see like dramatic changes between like individuals and stuff like that once they've completed the program?
Yeah, I think the biggest turning point for most of the group, but I suppose 2 or 3, we've really seen a turning point was healthy relationships.
Yeah.
And that's not just like with a partner, it could be a colleague, their parents, but we really broke that down, and you could see there was a lot of engagement from all the lads that were on the course about, you know, oh, this and this happens with my partner, but she doesn't really understand what I'm saying, where, you know, the facilitators we got from Top Blokes broke that down. You can see like a light bulb moment in their head go, oh, that's why, you know, get into an argument. So we had lads come back the week after saying, oh, me and my, you know, girlfriend had this really in-depth conversation. We're on this page now where we both understand each other. And we also had another member who didn't really have a really good relationship with his father. Hadn't spoken to him for months and months and months, and now after learning, you know, how to navigate that kind of relationships and conflict management, he's back talking to his dad once a week and actually teaching his father, you know, the things that he's learned on course, and has built this relationship back up to something that, you know, he's really enjoying, that we all, I suppose, take for granted sometimes with our parents, but I suppose that's something that will stay with me from the first course a lot.
Can you break down a little bit of some advice for like younger guys or people that are trying to like figure themselves out, especially coming out of high school?
Yeah, I think my advice would probably be, you know, be true to yourself. You know, you can be told by so many other people who they want you to be, but you know, you're never going to be happy trying to be someone else that someone else wants you to be. And I think that, you know, with your goals, I know personally for me, I would always manifest and sort of drive myself to, you know, you don't need to achieve your goal, you know, within one day. You can achieve your goals over 3 years. But then at the end of the day, like, you know, sitting back and, you know, sort of expressing gratitude and that for yourself, that, you know, you sat back and you've achieved those goals is a pretty amazing feeling. So I think with those younger dudes, it's definitely, yeah, just keep chasing your dreams, and, you know, you do what you want to do. Like, you don't have someone else tell you. Comparison is the thief of joy, as they like to say. You know, you can't compare your life to all these possibly, you know, fake lives that people are sort of living on social media.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, keeping that tight friend group and, you know, or surrounding your friends, like surrounding people like around you with good goals is, you know, that's going to really influence your own life.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting caught up in, you know, Instagram and TikTok. I know it's
hectic, right? It's hectic. Meant to be living this life of, you know, luxury out here, but we're all...
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, TikTok, you know, it's not going to be there for you. Instagram's not going to be there for you.
Yeah.
All your mates are and your family. So, yeah, I think that'd be my advice to the young dudes.
I guess known field, known work that is such like a masculine role, like seen or depicted as like such a masculine role. From you being like, you know, personal experience or whatever, like how do you feel like being vulnerable, especially from someone that, you know, is depicted, especially through movies or, you know, through stories and stuff like that, as being this hero figure, being vulnerable about your mental health or like, you know, and things like that. How do you feel like that, you know, can influence like a young kid even before getting into the defence force or going into just life in general? They're just in high school, you know. How do you feel like that can like cater and benefit their life?
Yeah, so I suppose it was a massive thing for Pedro and I to talk about, and on the first day I shared my whole, I suppose, adult life to the group. Full disclosure that I was going to be vulnerable. You know, I might show emotion, I might cry. So I've had some pretty full-on things happen to me, but I wanted them to see firsthand. I'm not just saying it's okay to be vulnerable, I'm willing to show it. And just doing that to them, the first session they all opened up straight away. So I think like I said before, it's about breaking that stigmatism that you can still be masculine and strong, but it's okay to show emotion and not carry around this heavy burden of having to be tough all the time. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. No one can, you know, bottle things up for hours and hours, and young kids need to know that. The earlier we can teach them that it's okay to show emotion, talk to other lads or talk to anyone instead of bottling up. And just like I've said before, we need to make it the norm that, you know, anyone can feel free to talk about, you know, really heavy stuff or real light stuff. You know, sit around the pub and talk about it. There shouldn't be this stigma of you can't talk about that because you show weakness, because I think it's an actual strength to be able to do it and do it freely. And the youth need to know that from a young age and not feel like they're alone or isolated to the point where they can't talk about it.
I do have another funny story if you want it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, for sure.
So with my daughter, so interestingly enough, out of the masculinity talk, I identified that I don't really get out of that man box very often. So I've started to implement, or I shouldn't say, just I started to play Barbies with my 4-year-old for 15 minutes a week. Yeah. Which has been really interesting. But what it has identified is that I've got another range of problems because she finishes the playtime with like and subscribe my channel. And she's 4. So yeah, that's my funny story to go with it.
So right here, like and subscribe to the channel, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.